As far as working with you, Richie, you're a class act. You're a classy guy. You're a great mentor for these kids that they look up to you. You've been through, if not all of this, much of this, and can
Yeah.
speak to the specifics from life experience. And you do it in a way where you're respectful of these high school kids that all come from a variety of backgrounds. We've heard some of the calls and how you interact with these boys. You really have a knack for this.
I mean, the kids can feel that you really care. And so, like Matt said, we've heard some of the calls and we're just in the other room. And I can tell that you actually know each one of them very well. We've both been parts of different types of coaching. And sometimes it feels like it's just canned and telling the person the same advice, but it's not that way. Like, this is completely individualized for each kid. And so they can feel it and you can see the product because you care. And kids can see through anything. And you can tell that when you're on the calls with them, they value what you have to say and they're asking genuine questions and you're giving that feedback honest, even though sometimes honesty may hurt. You dig in, and that's what they need. And because they look up to you, they'll take it and they'll listen. And I'd say to some of the parents, we know we're giving potentially some similar advice, but they're not going to listen. It's not going to have the same outcome as having someone like you. Yes.
I loved getting to know your dad. You're creating a family. You don't have this facade you're putting on and then you go to your other life. It's like, no, this is you and this is your family.
So tell me about Mateo. What class is he in? What position does he play?
So Mateo is a senior in high school in Helena, Montana. He plays football and lacrosse as the two main sports. In the past, he has wrestled and played a variety, but football and lacrosse right now. In lacrosse, he's a long stick midi, and in football, he's what I would call an athlete. He can play any position, but he really loves running back. I think that's his calling. That's where his heart really is, and he's fun to watch in that position.
And what were his goals when it come to playing college football, earning a college football scholarship? What did that look like?
Well, for Mateo, he loves to compete, so that's a given. He really likes to be on a team that has people who are dedicated, who want to be there. So he's also an academic. He's a 4.0. He's in multiple clubs and has varied interests. So science and health careers is something he's been interested in, and also electronics. So in looking at playing in college, it's not just the athleticism, it's also the academics for him. So finding a college meant that I had to check all those boxes.
I think the other part of that you touched on is culture. Finding a place where people are as committed as Mateo wants to be and has that camaraderie and brotherhood.
Yeah, I love that. And so I know there were a lot of them, but can you share a significant challenge that he faced as a player and maybe you faced as a parent on this path to earning a college scholarship and getting a chance to play at the next level?
There's so many hurdles and challenges, especially in recruiting today. And we've learned this more from you, Richie. Is, back in the day, which I don't feel that old, but it was a long time ago, recruiting was done in a completely different way. And kids now have to if they're going to be seen and how they brand themselves, market themselves, and get their name out there amongst thousands of other kids in a digital world. And that is so new for us. We might have some expertise and knowledge as parents, but it's a different world out there. So realizing we had to tap into somebody with that expertise to be able to help Mateo get to that next level. Other hindrances, I think, the politics of sports, whether in high school or in college. And there's a lot of those, we could list those out for hours, but there's a lot of politics in this, and navigating that in a tactful way where you maintain meaning a kid and family, maintain positivity takes a lot of strategy and self-awareness.
I was just going to add, there were some injuries in there, and Mateo is a multi-sport athlete, has been in two sports at the same time as a lot of kids are. And so he faced some injuries early on. And then of course, recovery, he had to have surgery. He broke his collarbone, and tough to miss some sports seasons and then go through recovery. So that's tough on the body as well as the spirit, right?
Going through this, there's a lot of competition. It's a digital world today. When you were looking for support in this area, what were some of the things you were doing to find support? What were some of the things you had tried before we met?
So we have an older son, and we used a different service to kind of assist with some of those pieces. I did put some film together myself. I'm not a techie person. I work in the health field, but I did what I could to try and capture some video for the kids. And we used other platforms and I had some success, but it was so challenging being pretty new to it and just not knowing what to look for and then how to connect with the right people. So tried to do some on our own, and then we utilized another program. And yes, I think it was challenging.
Yeah, I think one of the pieces that we realized was missing is the mentoring. Mentoring, coaching. I think we're decently intelligent people, but having somebody different than the child's parents that he looks up to as a mentor and somebody that he just really admires. And I think that person being able to give advice in conjunction with not triangulating with parents, but being on the same page. That was a piece that was really missing. And I think maybe lead up to some of your questions you may have, Richie, is seeing that you could be that person for Mateo. And I think through time have proven that you are.
Yeah.
So that's a huge piece that's missing in some of these other platforms.
So you had lots of different options out there. How'd you come across me?
I actually think it was on social media. I'm on a lot of parenting pages and sports parents pages, and I read a little bit about your story, and that was your book. So that's how I found you. And I said, hey, bud, and Mateo and I have a pretty good relationship. And so I said, hey, you want to check this out? And he's like, sure. I mean, I don't just jump ahead and do things. I want his input. And like I said, we have an older son that plays college sports. And so I thought, they know more than I do. What does it feel like? What does it sound like? And he thought that was pretty great. Your story spoke to him.
And so, Matt, when you say that there's this gap, right, and you felt like it was filled in our time together, what were some of those things that you, and Katie, you as well, were looking for to get filled for Mateo?
One piece of many, I think, would be somebody, you, Richie, that can walk Mateo through how to be tactful in communications with whoever he's dealing with in this recruiting realm, whether it be college coaches or whomever, and tactful in the wording and specific at the wording and the right approach, who to approach at what time, how to navigate from strength coaches to position coaches to head coach, who to approach at what time and what to say. And I think one other huge piece, how to take rejection. And rejection happens every day in adult life. And how to look at that in positivity and go, you know what, thank you for being honest with me. I can now go to the next one. Instead of like hearing the first rejection and being, oh my gosh, all my dreams and hopes are gone. You being able to mentor Mateo through that has been some great positivity in our whole household.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. And so that is a hard pill. And we speak with athletes. It's not like selling window cleaning or a product, right? You're selling yourself. And so when someone says no, you're getting rejected. So it's the hardest thing to sell, really, and to deal with.
It's personal. When you're trying to help. And for a lot of these kids, they have been successful. These are the top athletes in the high school. And so they're getting that positive feedback, that reward constantly. And so it is different for, I think, this generation. And I can only speak from the outside, I'm not them, but to get that rejection and then get used to it and move beyond there. And so I think that's what was super helpful to have you rather than us. Oh, we're always your cheerleader, Mateo, right? You're the best. We love you. You're amazing. Here's a person who has an amazing experience and perspective that he looks up to and values. So I think it was just so incredible for him.
Are there any areas where you've seen like areas of growth with Mateo over the past, 10 months or so?
When I hear him just on the phone with whoever it might be, when he's putting an order in for us at a restaurant, for example, when he's speaking to anybody around town, the way he presents himself and carries himself is different now than it was 6 months ago. I see it in the way that he articulates, carries himself, and the confidence that he has in presenting that. He's not that kid with this timid approach. Not that he ever really was, but he's just matured into this young adult. And I think a lot of it has to do with this coaching that he's received.
I think so too. And it is that word confidence rather than cockiness, because in my culture, it's all about humility. So it's been very uncomfortable, really stretching himself, putting himself out there and saying, well, I've accomplished all of these things and I think I'd be really good. His posture is completely different and he's just embraced it. So I think it's been incredible to watch. And then it's become more of him. It's like we're seeing more of Mateo and he's accepted himself and his strengths.
And I love how you word that, especially the culture and how you grew up. And I think mine was similar in this way, in that you not having to brag, but having the way that Mateo has figured out how to tell his story in a way that's him without being cocky or bragging, but being confident and still being able to sell himself without losing himself and becoming somebody that he's not.
So let's talk about some of the things that he's accomplished. So when I'll never forget that first onboarding call or game plan session. I vividly remember we were breaking down Mateo, schools he was focusing on, and he did end up getting some offers from some of those smaller schools. But on that initial call, I felt like he wasn't sold that he had the ability to play at the Division I level. And based on who he was or what I had learned to that point, and now I know for sure based on who he is, that it was possible for him, right? But in all reality, it's going to be a 3 to 4 year road, right? You're not going to start in your first year. And I say to him today, like, when he asked me, should I go with a smaller school where I have a scholarship offer or go to my dream school? I say, look, I don't say this to everybody, but if there was an athlete that I worked with that wanted to play at the highest level possible and knew and was going to be committed 3, 4, 5 years and would do the work and not give up, it's Mateo. And so I think with the decision with both of you to end up going where he's going to be going now, which is Hawaii, over schools that he had scholarship offers to, I asked him, I said, when I first met you, did you feel like that was remotely possible? And he was like, no. What has that been like as a parent? What have you seen in him?
In watching Mateo through a high school experience where he fought back from injury, got healthy, made a huge difference on the team in a support role, in support a kid with good size as a running back, but basically playing O-line, in supporting others who got a lot of attention, and seeing him being happy with that and being happy for his teammates that got these accolades and him being okay with that. So I think that actually a silver lining to this struggle that he went through in high school is he's got so much resilience and stick-to-itiveness, and I don't worry about him going to any program and knowing that he'll put the time in. His work ethic is second to none. He is a positive attitude. He builds bridges in between people and on a team as opposed to being divisive. He has all of these soft skills that he will be successful in life and on any team in college. I think also with him going to a dream school, he could go to a smaller school and be a standout immediately. And that would be fun, but I know in his wording is he'd always have that question in his mind. Yeah, but what if? What if I did? The only things I regret are things I didn't try. It's like, I wish I would have given that a shot. And he's doing that. He's taking that on with some anxiety and trepidation. He's taking it on. It's like, good for him. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And coming from like a smaller town, an area that's not as prominent, it's not Texas, it's not Florida, right? It's not California. And to be able to still be able to go to a Division I school and have a chance to work your way up, I mean, that says a lot, right? And I think he did the work. He made the calls. He sent the emails every day, every week. And then he did something that 99.99% of athletes won't do. And he walked right in the front door. So what was that experience like for you? Because this is the dream school. When I first met him, there's no way he was playing D1. Now he's walking in the front door to try and secure a spot. What was that experience like?
It was just like, oh, is this going to happen? Because we were just in a support role and it's all on his shoulders. And we all showed up at the school. My uncle went too. I mean, timing, there's a big long story behind it that you know. But I wasn't sure if he was going to walk in there, but he was like, what the heck? What else do I have to lose? And he was confident. He walked right in the door and we were wandering around looking for people. And I was just so proud of him because we know it inside. But for people to believe it, they actually have to take the steps themselves. And he did it.
He wasn't walking behind us. He
was
leading us through.
We really were visually in the support role. We were all behind him walking into the athletic complex and into the offices. He swung that door open and he went. We were just behind him. It's been kind of incredible to see because even though he's had so much success in life, all the way through youth sports and into high school, some challenges, but he's okay being the last one, right? He's okay with not getting that recognition. And this was him by himself. And he was like, I'm walking in, this is me. They've heard my name and I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to sell myself and I'm not going to take a no for an answer, or at least I'm going to take a no face to face. And so it was really cool to see. And we both, I mean, our eyebrows were just up like this the whole time. Like, is he going to do it? And so I just say we were really proud of him. It was neat to see.
It was fun being there. And just because one door seems like it might be partially closed, let's find another avenue. And seeing him navigate that was a lot of fun.
So what are you most excited about? Because just deciding where you're going to go and moving that ball forward, that's just the beginning. This is the beginning of a 4 to 5 year road, right? Of him running out of the tunnel at Hawaii or any, wherever he ends up on away games. I was saying, I hope one day you play here at UNLV. This is just the beginning of the journey, right? So what are some things that you want to see him accomplish as parents over the next 4 to 5 years?
I'm just excited for him to become more of Matteo, separate from us. And that's what he's doing. He could have gone down the street. There's so much history down the street here with the family and generations attending this local school and playing college football. He is going to make his own way and he wants to. He's excited about it. He's also reconnecting to his culture. So my family is from Hawaii and he's now going to be able to spend a lot of time with that side of the family. And there's what do they call it, the broken leg test. And so you have to want to be there, not just for the sports, which in some parents' mind, the goal of playing sports is to get a college scholarship and play. But that's not it. You still have to go to school and you have to live there, keep attending school and doing well. But it just hits all of those things that he is looking for. And like I said, the bonus is he gets to connect with family. And then also he's in Hawaii and he loves the ocean and he's 20 minutes away. And it's going to be really fun to see him be Mateo in a place where he has dreamed of going to school.
Ditto to everything Katie said. That cultural connection I remember that being such an exciting time of life. And I'm really looking forward to that for Mateo and spreading his wings away from family here, away from his parents, and connecting to culture and things that are new and different than what he's grown up with.
What has been your overall experience working with myself? Like, what advice would you have to other parents who are thinking, hey, I'm looking at different options. I'm thinking about potentially working with Richie. What advice would you have or what thoughts would you have for them?
As far as working with you, Richie, you're a class act. You're a classy guy. You're a great mentor for these kids that they look up to you. You've been through, if not all of this, much of this, and can speak to the specifics from life experience. And you do it in a way where you're respectful of these high school kids that all come from a variety of backgrounds. We've heard some of the calls and how you interact with these boys in a way for helping them develop in the young men is you really have a knack for this. Kudos to you.
I appreciate it.
You bet.
Definitely. I mean, the kids can feel that you really care. And so like Matt said, we've heard some of the calls and we're just in the other room and I can tell that you actually know each one of them very well. We both have been parts of different types of coaching. And sometimes it feels like it's just canned and telling the person the same advice, but it's not that way. Like this is completely individualized for each kid. And so they can feel it and you can see the product because you care. And kids can see through anything. They really can.
Totally.
And you can tell that when you're on the calls with them, they value what you have to say and they're asking genuine questions and you're giving that feedback honest, even though sometimes honesty may hurt. You dig in and that's what they need. And because they look up to you, they'll take it and they'll listen. And I'd say to some of the parents, we know we're giving potentially some similar advice, but they're not going to listen. It's not going to have the same outcome as having someone like you. So that's what I'd say to parents is try it because you'll get the outcome. Yeah.
If I can emphasize one way there is it's genuine.
Yes.
I loved getting to know your dad. You're creating a family. And you don't have this facade you're putting on and then you go to your other life. It's like, no, this is you and this is your family. And we're hearing about how you grew up and so kudos to your dad too.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you would want to share with anyone?
I think for those parents that you have good advice, but your kid's not listening to it. They just hear it in a different way, from a different lens and perspective. And your role as a parent is different in this, to realize you're not the right person to deliver some of these messages. I think don't hesitate. I think we love Mateo working directly with you and us being able to work with you and your dad. So yeah, don't hesitate.
And I would say to parents who are so close and really nervous about this next step that they should trust the process and kind of get out of the way so their kids can work with you because they'll be more bought into it if they're doing the work and it's not mom or dad pushing them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing that. You're very successful in your careers and as leaders. And so I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to jump on with me and share your experience.
Happy to.
Very happy to.
Yes.
So
we've so appreciated everything you've done for Mateo and continue to do.
Awesome. Yeah, you got it.